Ken's awesome dog brought us, and this is his favorite position, isn't it? It is, yes. Where's the bark? Where's the bark, huh? I know, there you go. Alright everybody, this is Ken, and he's gonna give us a tour of his box van right here. So Ken, if you would.
Alright, well, it started off, I bought a U-Haul, an old U-Haul truck, and
what's the age on it?
It's a 2006.
Okay.
So it's not old, but it was a surplus U-Haul truck.
Right.
And I moved cross country in it, and then due to some circumstances, I ended up building this just as a temporary home for a short period, and that was 8 months ago. So it's sort of
blossomed into this?
Blossomed into a full-time thing.
Ken's setup is a prime example of not having to be perfect, just wanting to get out on the road and travel, but it's still a great setup.
It cost me $500 to put the interior in it. I already had the truck, so it was cheap. I started off, like I was saying earlier, with a U-Haul truck that I moved across country with, and this sort of started organically with me needing a place to stay for a little bit, and I was just sleeping on the floor of this thing, and so it got really cold on the floor. It's an aluminum floor, so I decided to build a bunk in here, which is just a shelf. So this is all a series of shelves.
So basically up here is storage, and then you have the shelf here for your clothes, right?
Right, so this is actually 7 feet deep. It doesn't look that deep, but it's 7 feet by 8 feet, so it's a ton of storage.
That is a lot.
Then I have storage underneath, which is the overhead over the cab, that section. So I just split it in half, and I've got 10 by 8 feet of storage, basically.
It's a simple design, but it works great.
It works really great. It would be nice to clean it up some so you don't see all my junk everywhere.
That brings me to a question. Do you actually plan on like adding doors or anything?
Yes, but not necessarily with this box.
Oh, okay.
I might buy a separate box that has the right doors that I want and everything. Because like I said, this started off just as a sort of organic, needed a place to stay for a little bit. And
but you know, if it works, it works. So.
Yeah, it works. I like the concept. You can see it's all removable. It's literally, I can slide it out. This whole interior will come out in 20 minutes. I'm thinking about just buying a separate box, building that out, staying in this one in the meantime.
Do you have problems with that being open and things like falling out?
No, the only time that I've had stuff falling out was on this road in the last couple days.
Yeah, it's very bumpy.
Yeah, and nothing really. I mean, my paper towels ended up on the floor.
Oh.
I can't remember, something else ended up on the floor, but nothing significant.
Right. Well, the part of this life is actually learning what you need to do, tie things down and stuff like that. So.
Right. Everybody asks the same question, but I haven't had any problems. So I get a little sloppy about it. I just throw stuff up there and don't care about it anymore.
Well, yeah, it's storage, so.
It works. So it doesn't fall out. So yeah, and the shelf down below, like you were talking about, U-shaped shelf. Mm-hmm. That's actually a sheet of plywood that I cut the U out of and just have it sitting on these standards.
Right.
I've got 2x4 blocks, but everything's floating, and it'll all just remove. And I lined this area with foam, and underneath the shelf with foam, and underneath my bunk with foam, and I can put a blanket across here if it gets too cold.
Because it's all insulated in there.
Yeah, so I have a little insulated cubby right in there if I need it. I haven't really used it yet, but I've used it once.
All right, so what are these?
This is just a box that I built with, you can see on the back,
right.
It has a clip, so it just slides in, and it's done.
It's like a floating shelf.
It's a floating shelf. And I can make any number of them if I want. I can use that configuration, make a cabinet if I want.
Because there's multiple levels you have going on here, so.
Right.
Oh, that's a neat concept.
Yeah. And so all this is done. This is done that way. This is done similarly.
Right, so this is your kitchen, and Do you want to describe it a little bit?
This is my real simple kitchen. This is my water. So this is a 10-gallon cooler. It's a military surplus cooler.
That's pretty cool.
And I actually changed the faucet on it, or the valve on it, to a faucet so that I can actually turn it on and off and have running water. It's gravity feed running water. So that's actually worked out really well for me. All this plywood is actually from the center part of the shelf over my bunk, and it's just a really simple, narrow set of shelves table that I can put a Coleman cook stove on,
And that's how you cook, is your Coleman right there.
Coleman, or
how
I
does
cook
that work
outside.
for you?
It works great. I mean, the stove isn't the best stove because the valves are sort of funny.
That's actually what we cooked on y'all cooked on last night.
We had a great dinner last night.
It was delicious.
That and cooking over the fire.
Yeah, and you also have this kind of tripod right here.
And then this is a tripod I made out of electrical conduit.
Oh, so you made this yourself?
Yeah, it's very simple. You can still see the tag from the hardware store for the hook that I bought. I bent over the electric conduit and flattened it and drilled a hole through them.
And just made a tripod out of it.
And made a tripod that you just fold out, and it becomes a tripod.
And then you have something that hangs in the center of it.
And then I have a barbecue grill. It's a Weber barbecue grill, and a chain that hooks on here and to 3 points on the grill.
Right.
And so you can use it as a grill. You can also just have a chain or a piece of rope and a Dutch oven hanging over a fire.
Which is right there. And you used that last night to cook, didn't you?
Uh-huh, yeah. So it's a pretty simple system, and it all just folds right up into a small little bundle.
I like that. That's really good.
So
I see you have a gas bottle down there. What is that for?
That's I use it for my heat.
Okay.
And I use a Mr. Heater, which I'm not really impressed with.
Right.
It works for now.
Cool.
And that's just a storage area for my bottle. I pull that out, attach this to it, and then I use it for heat. I also have an adapter that fits that to fill my green bottles, my small bottles.
For cooking.
For cooking.
Okay.
So you don't have to buy a $3 bottle of gas all the time.
Right, yeah, because those little bottles can get a little expensive.
Yeah, it's a real economical way to do it.
Right.
And then you can see I had bins down in this area down here, and the best thing I found were these beer boxes to fit. They work really well. They're the right size for holding all sorts of stuff. So I've got more storage capacity than I really need. So.
And this is your Coleman.
That's my cooler.
Yeah, you use it for your refrigerator and stuff?
I use it for my refrigerator. I don't use any ice. I haven't used any ice or any kind of cooling for 8 months. I use the cooler just to store food in. I do durable vegetables in a bin like this, and carrots and cabbage and bok choy, squash. So I start off when I go to the grocery store. I get whatever vegetables I get and whatever food I get. I start eating the more perishable stuff first, and then I slowly work into the more durable stuff.
Right. I lived without a refrigerator for a year, so I know all about that. Yeah.
It's not hard.
No,
it's just changing your ideas. It's doable. And I've always sort of lived that way anyway.
So this is basically just like your food storage here.
Right, and I've got grain and spaghetti and stuff in here. Then I've got a bin underneath there that has beans.
So you actually have more food storage underneath the bed.
Yeah, I've got a lot of storage underneath the bed as well. So like I said, I've got more storage than I possibly need.
Storage is important, and you need to find it where you can, so.
Yeah. Well, you can see I've got tons.
Yeah, you definitely
that I don't even use.
Yes, your closet here.
My closet, okay. It's a funny name for just hanging your shirts on the side.
Well, it hangs shirts, so it's still a closet.
But it works.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
As long as it works for you.
It works. I've been trying to figure out how to hide it, but not too hard, obviously. But
Well, you know what?
it's totally functional.
Yeah, as long as it's functional.
And this is probably one of the only things when you were talking about things falling. Every now and then I'll open up the back and I'll have 3 or 4 shirts laying on the ground or something, you know. But so this
Because
is
you
rare.
have those plastic hangers. You know, if you go to the dollar store, they have those kind of velvety hangers, and
Oh, yeah,
it'll
yeah.
prevent you from, like...
Well, the hangers and everything will be on the floor.
Oh. So you
I'll
have
hit a bump or something.
a
I
rough
guess,
ride
and the
there.
Hangers pop up and fall off. So, and this is just my simple solar light, you know. Dave 2D gave me this.
Oh,
and,
cool.
So it's worked. I want to put LEDs in here and you know, like a string all the way around with the colored lights so you can change it and stuff. But that works.
So talking about solar and lights, do you want to explain your system here?
Sure. I've got a 320 watt solar panel on the roof,
Wow, that's a lot.
and it's way more than I need.
And it
but
charges 2 batteries.
It charges 2 batteries, and then I've
Yeah.
got a Xantrex 2000 watt inverter, and then a charge controller down here, which was a tracer, not a trace.
I have the same one. It works good.
Yeah, and it's a pretty simple system. I have a gauge
Monitor?
Yeah, so that you can actually monitor the system. It's a pretty simple one, but
What kind of batteries do you have there?
2 interstate 6-volt batteries. Deep cycle batteries.
Good.
And you know, I've got a cutoff switch so you can turn the solar power off when you want to work on stuff.
Cool.
And this is a breaker actually here. It's a fuse, but so
What is that
if I have a
rated?
short, if I have some kind of a short between the battery,
Right. What is
and
your
the
fuse
inverter,
rated?
400 amps.
Oh, okay.
But
Most people want to know how you keep clean and your bathroom system.
well, I use a bucket like most van dwellers do.
Which is
And
down there.
Down here, so I have it stored. I also store extra water. I can carry 17 gallons of water is basically what I carry. And one thing I do, which I think is
Doo-doo.
which anyway, I collected some pine. If you dig around like the base of a tree, you'll find underneath the pine needles or oak leaves or whatever, you'll find sort of composted material. So I collect it whenever I run low. I just filled this bag up.
That's
the
a
other day.
really good idea.
And then I
So
spread-
for spreading on your, I get it. Yeah,
Right.
okay.
So you put a little layer on in the bottom of your bag when you first start.
I
and
really
then
need to start doing that
Every time you use your bucket, you just put a little more organic material on
on
it.
top of it. Because
Yeah.
I use peat moss, but that would definitely be a lot better.
I also carry quar,
Oh,
so if
okay.
I run out. But
Right.
this you don't have to buy. It's available everywhere,
Right.
and it has organic. It has all the little critters.
Exactly.
In the earth.
So
Yeah,
it helps break down.
It's actually helping break stuff down, and it eliminates smell.
Very good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thanks for that tip.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's that system. Like I bought this table at Goodwill for whatever, 10, 15 bucks, and I converted it a little. I put a couple some drawers in for my
cookware,
kitchen.
right.
And then underneath that I've got another drawer with my frying pan and stainless steel mixing bowls, and I also make kombucha.
Oh, I do too. Kombucha.
So, yeah,
yes.
yeah. So I've got actually 8 of these. I have a number on the top of them.
Oh, I see. So you
I
have
don't know if
8
you
of
can-
those? Yeah, I see. Number 2.
Number 2. So I just keep track in my head what number I'm on.
I see.
And so that way I can rotate around. And
Well, that's awesome. That stuff's really healthy for you.
oh yeah. And yeah, so I mean I do a lot of the things that I would normally do at home, I can do right here. You know, when I lived in a house, like kombucha, I make sauerkraut or fermented stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's simple though. I mean, it's really simple stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So and then for bathing, to keep clean. All right, and so that bin actually has more food. It's got cans and stuff, and so that's how I wash.
Just like in the olden days, it's a basin that you use to wash.
And I fill it up with water, put it on the stove, and heat the water up.
Oh, cool.
And use a little Dr. Bonner's soap, and which I find I really like it.
And then after you're done, you just throw out the dirty water?
Yeah.
Cool.
The soap is biodegradable, so you don't even have to worry about, the environment if you're worried about it, which I am.
All right. So if you could give anybody any advice, what would that be?
If you're dreaming of going out on the road and you think you can't do it, go do it. You just have to. Like this came about, like I keep saying.
And the situation doesn't have to be perfect.
It doesn't have to be.
You just need to make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a prime example of just that sort of organically happening out of, the circumstances you're in at the moment, and next thing you know, 8 months later, you're living full time in this.
Right. All right. So how is being on the road? What'd you say? 8 months?
8 months.
Before you've been.
I love it. I mean, it's basically I'm pretty much a gypsy at heart, and I sailed in my past. I did a lot of sailing and stuff, so I've always wanted to move around, but it never really dawned on me to do it on the road rather than on the water.
So you feel you've always been a wandering spirit?
I've always been a wandering spirit.
Good.
That's why the Lost Soul tag.
Right. And remember, his channel is Lost Soul. So check him out if you want to. And
this is the logo, or it will be similar to that anyway.
You see? And he doesn't have any content, but he is working on 2 videos right now. So you can go ahead and subscribe to him, and then it'll give you a notification when his video comes out.
Exactly.
So thank you, Ken. We appreciate the tour.
Well, thank you.